Another tough one for the Royals tonight, dropping the opening game of the series with the Detroit Tigers to figure out what they do this weekend.
Hey,
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 Josh.
do you guys know where I parked my car? I can't seem to locate my car. Have you seen my car?
I haven't seen your car, but we're live on Royal Way on a Thursday night.
Oh, great. It's probably parked next to the Royals offense in the cemetery down the road.
One Royal Way back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed on all platforms of audio and visual. We're getting closer to that 700 goal by the end of the month. So I do want to get there. I think we're at 690 or pretty close to it. So I appreciate that. Hit those notification bells on all platforms so you know when our shows go up. 3 episodes a week. And joining me for the first time since we moved to 3 episodes a week, good buddy, Josh Kaiser. So glad to have you on. I know you've had the itch for a little bit. I'm glad we could finally get you on the pod here.
Yeah, had a few things to say, and they're probably not all the rainbows and sunshines that the viewers are used to seeing from me. But I've changed. I've grown up a lot since you've seen me last, and I've become an ultimate pessimist all of a sudden. So, but always enjoy coming, hanging out with you, talking Royals. Appreciate Nick Springer behind the camera, KNC Sports Network. You guys are just killing it right now. So it's truly my pleasure to be back.
I appreciate that. I know that you've been supported from afar, and I appreciate that. You have turned heel, like, completely. We talk, and the things you see on Twitter, it is not the Josh Kaiser that I did a podcast with for 3 years. It is very, very different.
Well, it's like a win in Rome situation. Like, when things are going poorly, I feel like I have to match the vibes a little bit. Because it's not my responsibility to be the vibes guy anymore. I'm just Josh the curmudgeon now.
That's fair. And obviously it's with some good reason at this point with how the first 20 games of this season have gone. As I mentioned off the top, the Royals dropped the game tonight, 6-1, the opener in Detroit. This team needs an off day so badly. And they still have 3 more games to get there before they can get there. We'll just go ahead and get right into this one because I know Josh and I are going to go long tonight because that's just the way that I know that this is going to go. Story of the game, 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position and the elite 10 on base. Since Monday, they are 2 for 27 with runners in scoring position. Not going to win a lot of ball games doing that, and you've lost 4 in a row.
It's at 1-8 since Monday. Feels like this week has gone by and we're just living in the twilight zone.
This
it's
week
just the
has
same
been
game every
days.
game.
Yeah, and it's Thursday.
Yeah.
You're just not going to win games that way. You had 2 on, no out to start the inning, start the game with India first pitch leadoff single. Bobby walks. I'm like, okay, hey, got something cooking. And Vinny flies out. Salvi pops out. Massey strikes out. It's like, okay, well, we're off to a hot start tonight. And then he got bases loaded 1 out in I think it was the 3rd or 4th. And Drew Waters has a horrific at bat. And Kyle Isbell pops out on the 2nd pitch. And that was basically it until the 8th. And they finally get something going. Michael, he's hit the ball hard. He hit the ball hard. He got robbed earlier in the game. Kinstry made a good play. Gets him back up the middle. It's 4-1. You got runners on 1st and 2nd, no out. Okay. Hey, maybe they'll get something cooking against the bullpen. And Renfroe hits into a double play that maybe was a double play, but I don't know. Not great. Regardless, not that completely killed any momentum that they could have had. And that was basically the end of it. You're just not going to win. You're not going to win games having these types of offensive performances. Like, there are games where your offense is going to do it. Your pitching is going to save you. You're going to win games 2-1, 3-2, 1-0. Like, those happen throughout a season, but that can't be your only path to victory. And that's essentially what we've seen from this team so far.
Yeah, it looks like the exact same thing we saw at the end of last year when Vinny went down. I mean, the pitching was still very good. It got a little bumpy there down the stretch last season, But they were still, in games and being competitive and stuff. It doesn't seem like there is a competitive at bat to be found in this game, especially. Just seeing them line up against offenses like the New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers, and Detroit came in kind of cold.
They
Their offense
scored
was
one run in their previous 2 games.
Yes. So, and they still came up and had way more competitive at bats. And Olsen is a north of 6 ERA guy. I mean, he's got
He
talent.
hasn't got out of the
probably
fifth in any start so far.
I mean, it's just so infuriating that they can't hit anybody. It's not the quad A guys that are just coming up to spot starts. It's not Ben Lively, who shouldn't be doing what he did. It's not Luis Ortiz striking out 10 guys over 6 innings. It's not Reese Olson, who hasn't made it out of the 5th inning and has an ERA north of 6. And it's also not the guys that are throwing strikes to him. So there's nothing doing right now in this offense. I mentioned it on X earlier today that last year the Royals averaged 4.5 runs per game. And had they just scored that 4.5 runs every game, I know it doesn't work like that, but
I know your point,
had they done that, they'd be 13-6. 13-6 is where they'd be, and then after tonight, 13-7. That is leaps and bounds better than what they are. It's just a dead offense right now, and it's just one game after another, and something's got to change. I am begging for a rain out sometime in Detroit. Just something.
I do think there is a certain amount of this that does, like, you can stem it back to playing 13 games in 13 days. You're in a stretch where you don't have an off day for nearly 2.5 weeks. Yep. Like, you're needing something, a rain out, a fight, an off day, something on a flight, a keg on a flight. I don't know what it is, and
it's a really tough schedule too. There's
no doubt about that. And that does play a part, but we also view this team as someone that should be competing with those teams, and they have not been competitive, at least in the last 4 games. I mean, at this point in the offense, I posted it earlier today on Twitter. Weighted runs created plus 28th in the league. OPS is 29th. ISO is 30th. The BABIP is 26th. So it's not even like they're not even getting unlucky or lucky. It's just there's not a lot there. They're not, but it's a usual Royals team that strikeout rate is fine, 9th in the league. They're not walking, 26th in the league. Lowest ground ball rate, the 2nd highest fly ball rate, and the 4th highest amount of soft contact. So they are hitting weak fly balls all over the place without almost any power to speak of. Yep. So it is.
They were hitting fly balls this time last year. We were kind of celebrating it as like a kind of a transition into a big boy offense. It was,
and like their line drive rate is fine. Like
fine. Yeah.
The like Jonathan India, it's like the results haven't been there, but like the process of hitting the ball in the air for him is a good thing, but he's popping out a lot. But his batting average and the metrics when he puts the ball in the air is way better than ground balls. And ground balls are not a good thing in Major League Baseball. Those are outs. So hitting the ball on a line is fine, but they're not doing enough of that, and they're not hitting the ball hard enough. They're not barreling the ball at all. There has to be something. Something needs to change. I am not exactly sure what it is. Like that's the hard part. Is like there's not a simple fix here. Like there's not a ripcord you can pull that's just going to change this, unless it is just wholeheartedly making roster moves. And this team isn't going to do that on April 17th. So we still got a couple weeks of this to see if they can either come out of it themselves or it's going to force JJ's hand to make some moves and try something.
That's the other part about this is things like Taylor Ward in the offseason. Apparently it was like an astronomical asking price to get him in a trade. Are you going to panic a little bit here and make a move? And I'm not necessarily saying panic. I'm just saying move with some urgency here, because even if you do make that big time move and go get like, I don't know, like a Luis Robert, or I know you hate Luis Robert. So I'm just,
well, he also stinks this year. So that doesn't help,
but he's still got the upside. I mean, we can still bet on the upside. We can't do the MJ Melendez anymore. He's ripping off bags. So he's at least bringing something to the table. But if they go make a big move like that with some kind of, reasoning behind it, so we don't have to keep playing Kevin Biggio in the outfield, which he's doing fine. I mean, he was a little skeptical out there on
he's
defense,
fine.
but whatever.
Like he's filling a role. It's fine.
Vanilla ice cream. I mean, not even that. I mean, he might be the sprinkles. I don't even know the tasteless sprinkles that are just there for aesthetic because something has to be, I guess. But if they go do that and it doesn't work, they still have time to turn around and make a move to be sellers at the deadline. I'm not advocating this, but if they did go around that route, I could see why. And something's got to happen. I'd like to talk about some of those options that maybe in Omaha when we get to that part of the show.
Yeah.
But the moral of the story is I don't think there is a guy there right now that is going to be that's what this offense is going to need. I don't think that guy exists right now. Yeah,
it's a really tricky spot right now, and we'll see what they do over these next few games. Maybe like Zumi got tossed tonight, Q got fired up. Maybe they just need to rattle the cage, throw bats,
these umps stink. Like 2 out of 4 of them were awful tonight. At least 2 out of 4.
It was real rough.
If there's a series,
we don't blame umpires for losses, but boy, that was a tough scene.
Get some red ass out there, Q. Come on now.
Something. We're going to take a quick break. Actually, this is not a quick break. This is a longer break, but we will be right back, and we'll continue talking a little bit about this game and get into the weekend right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition. And yeah, that includes prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Be sure to hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed if you are watching this and you are not already, and hit those notification bells as well. Josh Kaiser joining me tonight for the first time this season. I wish it was under better circumstances, but hey, here we are. I do want to hit on Michael Lorenzen really quick. He was fine tonight. Like, he didn't get into the field. He was super inefficient compared to what he was. Like, he normally, I know, okay, he's going to get me to the 5th or 6th, and it's fine. He got into the 5th, but did not complete 5. 4 2/3, 7 hit, 4 earned, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 4.57 ERA so far this year. Like, I think he's been fine. He's doing exactly what you pay him to do as the 5th starter. You know, not much else to say there. Mm-hmm. I do want to talk about Evan Sisk. It has certainly not been pretty in either outing, but he's throwing up zeros. He's striking guys out. He's got 5 strikeouts I think it's 2 walks so far in the big leagues, and what was it, 2 1/3 or something like that total?
I was going to ask you if you knew, but he did 1 1/3 tonight, and I bet it wasn't.
And then he had the clean inning in the 8th against the Yankees.
Yep.
I think there's something there. I mean, the fact that he's able to get strikeouts at 89, 90 miles an hour, then tells you how funky it is and that there's something to be said for that. But I don't know what his long-term prospects are, but I mean, he's throwing up zeros in situations where other lefties in this bullpen are not. So
I was going to say,
he's certainly going to earn himself some opportunities.
and I'm glad someone is. I'm glad some of these guys who are out to try to win their job and keep that position is out here doing something with it. And now that I say that, Evan Sisk is going to give up 6 runs the next time we see him. But
As is tradition.
I would much rather see him out there than Sam Long anymore. I don't think that's even a contest at this point. But I've always kind of liked Evan Sisk. I think he generates some weak contact. He, has that frisbee slider that's pretty fun to watch, and a lefty that throws 91 is never going to be not exciting in the Major League Baseball. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Evan Sisk, and especially how he's doing right now. But you're right about Lorenzen too. Like, he is your 5th guy. You kind of have your top 3, and then Chris Bubich has been lights out this year. So if you're getting 4 to 5 to maybe a quality start from Lorenzen as your 5, I am 100% happy with that at that point.
Yeah, as long as he continues to do that, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason why, like, I'm okay with them scrapping the Daniel Lynch multi-inning thing, because as long as Lorenzen stays healthy and he does this, there's no reason to keep Daniel Lynch stretched out to where he needs a spot start or whatever the case. Like, because that's part of the reason why we haven't seen him in some of these situations where people want to see him, because they wanted to hold on to that idea in case it's like a break glass thing. But I think that ship has sailed at this point, and he's been solid enough in the bullpen this year that I'm cool with just that being the role, especially with Zerpa's struggles. Obviously, Long is hurt. Sisk is breaking his way into the big leagues. Like, you need a lefty to go and get guys out. He can be that guy. I am very rarely one to quibble or complain is the wrong word, but question bullpen decisions. Like, it's not something I often do, because if they're going out there, like, I expect them to get outs or whatever. Like, I understand the situation for the most part, what they're trying to do. But you got a little momentum tonight in the 8th inning or 7th inning. My apologies. It's 4-1. You have an opportunity to try and keep the game close as you're heading back toward the top of the order. And they brought out Chris Stratton for 2 innings tonight. And when Lucas Erceg has not thrown in 5 days at this point, he threw 5 pitches on Sunday. He got a third of an inning, 1 strikeout, and then he was done. He hasn't thrown since. It's just like, I understand that Chris Stratton is your mop-up, save the bullpen guy, but you're playing a divisional opponent. You've gotten a little bit of momentum. You got to their bullpen a little bit. You at least kept yourself in the game. It's a 3-run game. It's a save situation. And going to Chris Stratton for an inning and 2/3, to me, just that in that spot, it doesn't make sense. If it was 6-1 or 7-1, I get it. We're just going to move on here. But you got to have some kind of fight there late in the game. And I feel like Erceg at least gives you a chance. Hey, we got to run. We got something going. Shut down inning. Let's go back out. Then we got to fight at the bat rack in the 8th. And it signaled the punt. And I feel like that was not the situation for it. That was not the time for it, given that they had finally gotten something going offensively in the previous inning.
And this is like the 3rd or 4th time that Q's done this. Like, whether it be Chris Stratton or Sam Long, it might be a 2 or 3 run game there in the 8th or 7th or somewhere late in the game, and he'll either bring both of them in or keep one of them in too long, and it eventually turns into a 5-1 loss, 6-1 loss.
And it was a 6-1 loss tonight because Stratton was throwing 92-mile-an-hour fastballs down the middle.
I don't understand what we're doing there. I understand, like, Zerpa is not necessarily doing what you want him to. You're trying to get Long and Stratton right in order for them to stick around, but at the same time, like, we're still trying to win ball games here. So it is a weird thing. In this stretch, like you've already said, it's a long stretch. I could totally understand not wanting to burn those guys out like last week, but they get an off day on Monday. So you basically have this 4-game series against the division rival that you're currently chasing and was a postseason team last year. This is an important series. You got 4 games here. You got to fight for every one of them. So I don't love the fact that he keeps trotting them out. At the same time, I could kind of still see it. And Stratton did have a scoreless inning there in the, what was that, the 8th, 7th? And then he gave up in the
It
8th.
was the 7th, and then he gave it up in the 8th.
I,
But again, like it was still 4-1 when he came
right.
back out.
That's
for the
still
8th.
within reach. And
And
they've shown signs of life. All the law of
Yeah.
averages says you're going to accidentally fall into some of those runs at some point. There was life in
what
that.
happens on the other side is that you talk about burning guys to where they can't throw for multiple innings.
Bingo.
But you have rust that can set in if they're not throwing for 4 or 5 days, especially Ursig only throwing 5 pitches since Sunday. Like he's throwing sides and he's keeping his arm loose, but game speed is different. Yep. So it's just something to watch if Ursig goes out in the 8th later this week and the command is not quite what we see from him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, because he just hasn't thrown enough. All right, I think that's enough.
If it was a close game, any of like tomorrow or on Saturday, you could have played both. You could have pitched both of them tonight and still had both of them on the backside of the series if you have a close game. So
exactly,
I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like that's probably one of the only times you'll ever hear me complain about those types of decisions. I just tonight was one that really struck me as odd because it's the second, like you said, the second or third time we've seen something like that. It's a close-ish game, and you bring in Long or Stratton, and it blows up. Mm-hmm. We'll go ahead and just preview the weekend a little bit. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, still in Detroit. Your pitching matchups Friday, so tomorrow, Reagans versus Jackson Jobe. Jobe is a really good rookie, but again, he's a rookie, and you have your ace on the mound. You got to find a way to win that game. I don't care if they do it 1-0. I don't give a damn how they do it, but they have to find a way to win that one. And then it's Lugo versus Casey Mize on Saturday, and then the big one, Walker versus Tarek Skubal on Sunday. Do you think a split is possible? And by that, I mean, do you think they can win Friday and Saturday, and then hopefully they don't get absolutely wrecked on Sunday?
No. I'm going to say no and just hope for the best on that. I think that it's a situation where Reagans does get a win tomorrow, and it's going to be like a 2-1 win again. Yeah. But weird things happen against good pitchers. They have in the past. There's been plenty of games where good pitchers come and shove it down their throat.
They've gotten to Skubal a couple of times. They got to him.
Yes. Yep. I feel like we're due for one of those weird games where they randomly put up 7 on Tarek Skubal. I mean, Casey Mize would be the one I'd pick because he's having a great start to the year. I think he's coming off 2 really good starts. Yeah. They've seen him plenty. So I think that is also a more likely scenario, but I do think that the best version of these offenses has and still can get to these guys. At the same time, they are dead. This is not they're currently not the best version of this offense. So I'm not betting on them. I'm taking the over on strikeouts of opposing pitchers forever until we see signs of life from this team. And I know the over strikeouts didn't hit tonight. I think they only struck out maybe twice tonight.
It was 6. I think it was like 6, maybe.
Was it that many?
Yeah.
It was 7. Never mind. Yeah, I think the over still hit. So I'm just not gambling advice, but I would be doing that.
No, I said this. I've said this on the radio a couple of times. I think I've said it on this podcast too. Like sometimes, like hitting is a contagious thing, and I think this team needs just one of those. Remember that they had a couple of games last year where they just came out and just everyone was hitting, and it was just a fight at the bat rack. I think they just need one of those innings just to be like, oh, we can do this. Oh, we all can get hits. This is crazy. I think they just need one of those innings, and maybe that's what turns the tide. Like, I know it's a super optimistic thing, and we haven't really seen it this year, but sometimes it takes something as little as that, like 5 hits and 3 runs in the second inning, and it's like, oh, okay, breath of fresh air, and you can go. Like, sometimes baseball's just that finicky.
Find a damn Manus or get a dance party in the clubhouse. I don't care. Just do something to mix it up a little bit.
They gotta because like I understand like the mentality of the like, hey, we got to flush today, get to tomorrow. Like I think over the course of 162 games, when you take a 50,000-foot view, that is a good way to look at this. They got to rattle the cage with something, man. Like because this is such not uncharacteristic. That's the wrong way to put it. Like this is not the way this team should be playing, and they know that. This is obvious. We're 2 morons with microphones. Like we're not saying anything that's that crazy here.
Yeah,
I think it just give me one fight at the bat rack inning. Yes, like they just You
Bingo.
just need to see one go down, and then you're fine. Like, just give me one big inning, one crooked number, and I think maybe we see this thing turn a little bit, because they had some stretches like this last year.
Oh yeah.
And then again, like, it was just one inning and they got it rolling. So we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm still optimistic. It's 20 games. We still got 142 of these damn things. That there's also we got 120 more
like 6 weeks in. We're not 6 weeks into the season yet.
Not quite. No.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, one good thing about having Josh on here is that he still does follow the minor leagues quite a bit. I still, well, to some degree. Hey, actually, before we do that, thank you, Nick, behind the scenes, for letting me know. Since we're going to go a little longer tonight, we do need to take one more break. This one is just 15 seconds, though, so we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Thank y'all so much. All right, Josh, I do want to talk a little minor leagues. I don't do it enough during the week because the episodes are short enough that I don't have the time, because I end up rambling for 20 minutes about 2 baseball games, which is just my life in a nutshell. So I do want to kind of hit some of these teams and some players that, deserve some shine. One guy that I do want to talk about, and it's a guy that I am super high on going into this year, and where I think he could be as we move forward. Osbel Gonzalez in low A. He's 4 for 5 tonight. He is hitting .417 on the year. Now, the Fireflies just won their game tonight, 7-5 in 10 innings. They are 7-5 on the season. And it's still a 917 OP or 926 OPS, which feels low for a 417 average, because it's a whole bunch of singles. Like, it's very, like we talked about Eric Torres last year, like same sort of thing. If this kid develops any sort of power, the bat to ball skills are very, very high quality for a 19, 20-year-old. Yeah. That if you do think about a center fielder of the future, even if it's kind of far away, like Osbel Gonzalez kind of fits that. The glove is there. The speed is there. He has 17 stolen bases in 12 games. He had 2 more tonight. I think he had 6 in one game earlier in the year.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but then also Ramon Ramirez OPSing over 1,000 now. 154 weighted runs created plus coming into tonight, and he had another home run with a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk. 2 young dudes that are from the Dominican, and it's not something we've seen the Royals develop super well over the last handful of years. Two guys to watch for there. And 2 at positions of value. Like, if you find your center field of the future and a catcher of the future, that's I mean, you just need a shortstop, and you really got, you're playing with peanut oil at that point. I'm still very leery on these young guys doing what they're doing. And I used to be a huge believer in, like, oh, this is real, I'm just going to start counting on it. And then they flame out in Double A, and it's like, well, I guess we'll look for the next guy. So I'm still very leery about this, but these are the 2 guys down there. They're the dudes in Colombia. So them actually stepping up and producing has been massive. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on them with hopes high, but we're gonna have to wait a little bit long before old Joshy Pants gets his hopes high on him. Yeah, because I remember at one time in my life I was very excited about Eric Pena, and we know how that went.
100%. Yep.
Now, to be fair, I think both of these guys are better than Eric. Have shown they are better than Eric Pena at this point, because they're not 48% of the time. Yep. Moving on to Quad Cities, they're 8-4. They're first in their division early on here through 12 games. Drew Beam, I saw it tonight, 6 shutty, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, 4 hits. Was up to 98, apparently. Was 95 sitting around 95, hitting a 98. A guy that is about as safe as you possibly can have. And I know that we talk about there's no such thing as a pitching prospect, but if you are going to put your chips on someone, I'm going to take the safest option possible. A dude with 4 pitches that are all plus, that that he's going to command the ball. Again, he's going to run it up into the upper 90s. We're going to be talking about Drew Beam here in Kansas City sooner rather than later. This dude is going to be pretty solid for us. Yeah, he's considered to be a fast mover, right? Yeah. Because again, like, it's the way that I look at it is almost like a Brady Singer. Like everything, like
Yeah.
we knew from the second they drafted Brady Singer, like, oh, that guy's going to be a big leaguer. Like because
Mhm.
the sinker and the slider and the command were plus. It's like, okay, this is going to work, even if it's not the ceiling of a number one. Drew Beam's probably like a number 3, and that is a super valuable thing to have. That like this dude's going to slot into your rotation, and he's going to go out there, man the post every 5th day, and get the job done. Like he's that type of dude. It seems like.
There's a lot of good starts there in Quad Cities. Maybe it's cold weather. I mean, that's certainly something to it. But Hunter Patterson, Felix Arande, Logan Martin, Drew Beam, and our boy Frankie Mazzucato, really solid start as well. So they've got
a solid start yesterday.
Yeah, they've got some things moving there in Quad City as far as that rotation goes. That I mean, I think a lot of us had probably given up on Mazzucato, but there's been some positivity around his velo. That was always the question mark for him. Sounds like things are up a bit, not a ton, but if you have a good shape on your fastball and you have the hammer curve like he has, then there's a little something there. So something to keep an eye on for sure. But that's I didn't really realize how good that rotation has been this season. So that's very fun to see.
Yep. I do want to give one quick shout out to a guy, Sam Coulsingham, who was drafted out of the Air Force Academy last year for the Royals. He's got an 827 OPS on the year so far. He had a triple tonight, three for 4 with a walk. He's walking about 12%, striking out less than 15%. I don't know what, hey, just name to watch. And I do want to shout him out because a family friend of mine knows him because he works as a history professor at the Air Force Academy, and he's like the faculty rep for the baseball team. So he made sure every time that I talk to him, he always mentions Sammy K. So I wanted to make sure that I gave him a shout out on the pod tonight. Moving on to AA, they are still in progress as we're recording, down 6-4 to the San Antonio Missions. Biggest thing here for me is Cags, Jensen, and Cross are all slumping all at the same time, and it's real tough. Obviously, high hopes for all three, the Cags especially. But seeing all three of them going through this at the same time is not great. Your boy Jensen is having a real tough start to the year.
I don't know what the hell happened to him and Cross's power, but they haven't shown anything on that front. The slug for Gavin Cross is 341. Fine, he's leading off, whatever. Carter Jensen's slug is 292 going into the day. That's not too good.
He's not walking anymore.
He's just 7.5%. I mean, that's not zero.
His career is 10.2. I mean, that's
not zero though, Joel. I'm trying to help out my boy here. I'm trying to get my best friend Carter Jensen a little bit of shine, even though he's slumping. But it's fine. Everything's fine because Peyton Wilson is apparently a man on fire. He's 1308 OPS. He has 11-game history. Hit another extended tonight. Another couple RBIs. I mean, what is he, like 25, 26-year-old?
He's 25.
AA?
He's 25.
Doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He should be dominating them.
This is his third go-round at AA.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people did like him when he was picked. Was it third round pick, right?
He was a draft eligible sophomore in second round in 21.
Yeah. And I never really saw it, so it's kind of fun to see him. But at the same time, it's 25 in AA. But he is keeping that dream team of prospects kind of rolling right now.
Yeah, it's coming in at a night. He was slashing 429, 565, 743 slug. That's good for a super sustainable 247 weighted runs created plus. Walking 20%, striking out 13. Yeah. I said third go round to AA, so it is what it is. But I think there's enough positional versatility. There's enough speed. He's a switch hitter. He's not necessarily going to be a big power guy, but he can move around the infield, play a little corner outfield. Like this dude may just whip Merrifield himself to the big leagues in like that type of capacity, especially that being a switch hitter that can play a bunch of positions. There is a ton of value in that, even if you're not the best hitter in the world.
Just ask Kevin Biggio.
Yeah, there you go.
And Adam Frazier and Garrett Hampson.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really been much else to speak of at AA. Oh, I know that Cags is in a slump right now, and he still went 406 backside on Sunday, which was pretty absurd. Which again, that's the shortest home run that he's hit this season. 406.
I've heard some positive things about Kudrna.
Please, yeah, please.
Sounds,
Go.
it sounds like I've heard some scouts talking about, he's had some solid outings. I've talked to some other Royals content folks that have heard the same thing. So I'm very excited to see what Kudernet is. Kind of a big year for him.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like he's not going to make or break his career this year, but making that transition between AA to AAA is about that time. So it is kind of a big year for Ben Kuderna and Mazzucato at that rate. But it sounds like there's been some positive stuff coming out of Kuderna, especially in the secondary. So I'm into that too.
His career has been super interesting because 2022 he goes to low A and was fine, but nothing really to write home about. He goes back to low A, dominates, goes to high A, struggles, and then and then to start 23 he goes to high A, dominates, and then goes to double A, struggles, or 24. My apologies. But either way, like low A to high, he's done this thing where he's gone there, been fine or struggled, and then goes back, dominates, and then goes back up and just kind of repeats the cycle. Last year in Double A, a 5.32 ERA in 45 2/3. I know it's not a huge sample, but not an awesome. And so far this year, it's a 4 ERA, but it's only 9 innings. The FIP's 1.3. Strikeouts walk ratio is 14 strikeouts to 2 walks. As long as he's able to command the secondaries, if he's able to get the fastball up just a tick, because he was up into when he was a prep, he was into the upper 90s, and he's been around like 92, 93 most of the time as a pro. If he's able to be 93 to 95, touching a 96, 97 when he needs to, I think it ups the profile quite a bit because he does have such a good feel for secondaries, which is something you don't often see from young pitchers at this stage. Even though he's been in pro ball for a number of years at 22, you just don't see that super often from guys that weren't like top draft picks. Like he was 3rd, 4th round pick. So he's certainly one to watch. I hope that he's able to get to AAA by the end of this year, and then we're talking about when or if he can be in the big leagues in 26 would be pretty big time. AAA just got going, so I think they just got going tonight. So I know that you have some names that you want to talk about that could be that could have an impact here at some point with the struggles that the big league team has had. I mean, they have names they can go to, but to me, like, I don't think there really is anyone that's a difference maker at any point. Like, the hope with any of them is they can be good for 2 weeks and just be a spark and help get things going. Like, that's all that you need. Like, I know that you love John Rave. I don't need John Rave to be an awesome big leaguer. I need John Rave to be awesome for 2 weeks and help the offense get going.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, John Rave, very good defensively, solid base running. He's a solid play discipline, but not much pop. I mean, you're not going to get that from him, but he could play all 3 positions out in the outfield. Right now, I was looking up their expected slash lines. His expected slash lines 231, 311, 385. That's nothing to write home about, especially not in AAA. So I love Johnny Rave. I would love to see him get a shot at it, especially if he got hot. But I'm definitely not, super convinced that he's going to be a big helper to this. I think Nick Lofton, Cam Devaney, and Joey Weimer might have better.
Devaney just went on the injured list though, and that's the problem.
That's the problem for sure.
Lofton,
but he was
OPS in AAA, but
I
mean, I know the sample's been small, but there really hasn't been anything that's shown you like, that guy can be in the big leagues on a consistent basis.
Right.
Like he just doesn't hit the ball hard enough. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's going to walk. He's going to work at plate appearances, but you got to have some kind of feel for the barrel, and he just can't find it. So
his average launch angle is like 6 degrees right now.
It's a lot of ground balls and a lot of weak fly balls, and we already have enough of that at the big league level that I don't want to see that too often.
Well, we got a lot of weak fly balls for sure. His expected slash lines 282, 446, 380. Okay. I mean that is one of the weirdest slash lines I think I've ever seen in my life. But
that's very Nick Lofton.
The interesting part, Cam Devaney, I mean, his peripherals look good. He does have some pop, but he's mostly a shortstop and kind of moves around the infield a little bit. We don't need any more infielders. We don't need any more. So I want to see Cam Devaney maybe, but at the same time, I'm kind of more interested in Joey Weimer. I think he's got a little bit more of the upside. His expected slash 257, 383, 457 in Omaha.
There's
Solid
legitimate
defense.
power there. If he can can just iron some stuff out, man, I think they're not an everyday big leaguer, but there's legitimate power off the bench that he could provide.
And the problem is the swing and misses there. He has contact concerns for sure. His resume so far in the bigs is not good, and his swing I have never really laid eyes on it until this last week, and it looks it would give MJ Melendez's swing a run for its money in like most hitches or most too complicated situations that's going to cause issues at some point. It's just a matter of time, but he at least has a little bit more upside, and he might be the guy that might be able to come up and do a little bit more. So if I'm putting my money on anybody, it's probably Joey Weimer.
Yeah, because I think he could actually be that spark guy because of the power.
Yeah.
Like that is kind of that's the difference maker with a guy like that over a Lofton or a Gentry or a Rave. Like that dude can go braid. Like you groove one, he's gonna crush it. Like he's got that ability over those guys. I do want to mention Noah Cameron, because I think he's going to be the next guy called up if there is going to be someone from AAA. So far this year, 16 and a third, 1.65 ERA, 18 strikeouts to 6 walks. I want to see him bring the walk numbers down a little. That's why the FIP is running a half higher than the ERA, but no one's hit his changeup.
That's it.
He literally no one has made contact with his changeup, and it's got a 48% whiff rate.
Yep.
That'll play. In the words of our old friend of the show, Alec Lewis, that will play.
That'll play. And I was looking at it today. There's a 12-mile-per-hour difference between where he's sitting with his four seam and where he's sitting with his changeup. His changeup's like 81.1 miles per hour, and his four seam's up to like 93. And 12 miles an hour might not seem like a big deal.
That's massive.
But it is a big deal. Like,
yes,
I didn't know what to do with that. Except it was like
a good speed differential with a changeup. 12 is nuts. That's like Bugs Bunny.
12 is good. There's nobody else in Omaha doing that, but it's not saying a lot. But it's still very impressive, and it's doing work. It is absolutely doing numbers down there in Omaha. I got 2 more nuggets for the pitching staff there. Johnny Bolin has a 47.6% whiff rate on his four seam this year. 95, he's sitting at 95.1, 2,300 RPMs. It looks like 17.6 induced vertical break, so it's got really good shape to it.
17 IVB, yeah, that'll play.
Yeah, that'll work. Coming out of the bullpen, so I think he's on the 40-man. I think he's out of options now. So it might be time to give him a shot if Chris Stratton's not long for this roster. I would love to see Johnny Bolin come up here with that fastball. That's a lot of fun. And then Andrew Hoffman also having a really good year. The guy who could not keep his hat on in spring training last year, I think he is still having those issues this spring training, but a 1.23 ERA, a 1.36 whip out of the pen. He moved from the rotation to the bullpen and seems to have done something for his career. So just some options down there. Like I said, I think it all depends on what happens with Alec Marsh's health. But it would be cool to see all 3 of those guys come up in the big leagues and if they ever needed it.
Yeah, and it may be an unrealistic name, but I continue to be fascinated by Luinder Avila.
Yes, I was looking at his stuff too.
20 strikeouts to 6 walks in 15 innings. He got blown up in one of his first couple of starts. Obviously, that kind of inflates things, but he's been really good still, and the stuff is ridiculous for him. The big overhand curveball, the fastball with that he can run up into the upper 90s with solid carry and characteristics.
Yep.
If he's able to refine a couple things, I still don't know if he's a starter, but I know from the 1-inning spurts we saw in spring training, that dude could be a fun-ass reliever.
Yep. Yep.
That would be
His IVB is not good. But if he's able to hit that velo, I think it should be fine. He's got some solid secondaries, but I think it's mostly a changeup. Isn't that his next?
Oh, he's got a curveball like 3,000 3,000 RPMs. Like it's pretty.
That's pretty good.
And it's big. It's like a big overhand one, but it doesn't like pop out above the fastball. It just like pops out and dives.
Yeah.
So
so I'm gonna want velo for that fastball for sure.
Yes. And it's got enough again. The fastball curve tunnel with the way that he's able to throw his fastball top of the zone with the velo. It's
Yep.
more like, I'd say it's kind of like an Ursig type fastball. And like, you don't know why it works so well at the top of the zone because it doesn't spin, doesn't have that same carry, but it just works. And
Yep.
I want to see him. I know they want to keep him. I think you keep dudes as starters for as long as possible. But if they,
For sure.
but if you know that dude can help your big league roster, get that dude in the bullpen and let that fastball eat.
Mm-hmm. And there will be a time when they need that. I mean, the Hunter Harvey injury is obviously a tough situation. Hope he is back at his minimum time, but it's fun to have options. It seems like they do.
There are legitimate options here.
Sisk just might be the first one that we see this year come up and produce. So cheers to them, and hopefully we see them in the Kansas City soon. Speaking
of cheers, it is time for our toast game brought to you by Holiday Distillery. I got myself some soft red wheat here that I'm sipping on tonight. And we're on a 4-game losing streak. So, Josh, I'm just going to toast game to you. Thank you for hopping on tonight. I appreciate the time. I know that you maybe needed this outlet for just a little bit, a little dopamine hit. And I know in about 6 weeks, you'll be like, Joel, I need it again. I need it again. Well, cheers to you, sir. I was going to cheers to you for what you're doing here. You're still growing this channel. I love you're working your ass off, and it's awesome to see you out here doing it. Cheers to Nick Springer, who's also killing it as usual as well. And then chilling, everybody chilling with us tonight, anybody who's listened to us. Cheers to you all. Very appreciative of your time, and thanks for having me. Anytime, I'm happy to come back. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As I mentioned multiple times throughout an episode, please make sure you're subscribed on all platforms. Trying to get to 700 on YouTube by the end of the month. We still got a bunch of episodes to go between now and then. So I hope that if you are not subscribed, you are after listening to this. Tell a friend, get everybody over here. We still got a long way to go this season. I'm still excited for it, despite the stretch that this team is on. I feel like they're gonna find a way to turn it around, and we'll see where we end up. I will talk to y'all on Sunday night after the Royals will obviously play the day game. So we'll go live Sunday night at 8:30, and we'll talk about the weekend and preview the week. Mercifully, there will be an off day after Sunday for this team, and then they'll be back home for a homestand. So maybe getting off their feet for a day and getting back home will turn the tide. So we'll talk to y'all then. Appreciate everybody, and have a good night.